Got it. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Kimberly Smith Austin here with the Made to Inspire podcast. I want to welcome you back to another episode. I am here today with my awesome and amazing co-host, Misty Kerrigan. Hey, Misty.
Hey, Kimberly. How are you?
I am super fantastic. We are still here in Heart Health Month and, rocking that red as usual and making sure we're telling people the importance of keeping a healthy and happy heart.
Do you know what helps your heart?
What's that?
Not having crazy stress.
Yes. You know what's crazy about that? Is today, that's my email for my fitness company. How to manage your time and your heart. It's all about stress management.
And you know what stresses people the most usually?
What's that?
Time. Time, our most valuable resource, is also the thing that stresses people out. There's not enough time in a day. Have you heard that? If I could just add more hours to the day, or how's your week? I'm busy. Those are all things we hear a lot, especially when we start some of our new coaching clients, is always about time. There's not enough time when I have too much to do. Have you heard that?
Absolutely. Over and over and over again. And the truth is, time is going to tick no matter what we do, no matter what we say. So we have to be good stewards of our time. I remember reading that in the Bible, it says we have to redeem our time. We have to redeem our time. And so today's show is going to be focused on first things first. And you all may have heard this expression. One of our favorite books of all times is Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And what he did back, I believe I read that book 25 years ago. I can't remember, 25, 30, if not that long. And he talks about so many things. But that one principle of first things first has been a challenge for so many. And today we thought, as business owners, entrepreneurs, executives, wherever you are in your life, we want to give you some tips, tools, and strategies to help you put the first thing first so you can crush your time.
Now, I read this amazing quote. It says, time is created thing. It's created. We just make it up in our head. And when we say, I don't have time, what we're really saying is, I don't want to.
Yes.
So those things in life, and you as a fitness coach, I'm pretty sure you've heard, I don't have time to exercise.
All the time. And I tell people, you know what? You don't have time, but you make time. And that's what, when you're talking to people and people go, oh, I didn't call you. I didn't say I don't have time. I said I didn't make time. And it goes back to your point of that's not a priority. If you didn't make the time, it wasn't a priority for you. And so that's so important to think about that, Misty. I love that.
I love that time is our ultimate equalizer. Everyone here has, and I break it down, we have 168 hours a week. No matter how much money you have or how little you have, you still only have 106 hours a week, and you have 1,440 minutes in a day. And I read somewhere when it talks about if in your bank account every morning you had $1,440 that you knew would go away, so you had to spend it daily, what would you do with it? And people are creative. They come up with all types of ways how they would spend that amount of money. But when you flip it and say, well, that's how many minutes you have a day, and it goes away and it gets reset the next day, how are you going to spend your minutes?
That's it. And, one more point to that I read or listened to a long time ago, it was about Kairos and Chronos. Chronos is the chronological time that we all get, but there's also something called Kairos, and that's all about the moments. So moments versus minutes. That was powerful when we think about that, because we all, as you said, get the same amount of time. The question is, how do we want to use it? How do we want to use it to experience life at the next level, or to enjoy our life with our loved ones, our colleagues, our peers, whomever? So we have to decide, how do we use that time? And today it's all about first things first.
Do you know when you have your first things first, yeses are easier and nos are easier, even for people pleasers. Putting your first thing first allows you to allow things like a gatekeeper, right? Like in the those fancy neighborhoods where you can't even get in without the code. You have to stop. It says, okay, is this coming in? Yes or no? Once you have the first things first, it's easier to know what you want to let in and what you absolutely are just going to keep behind the fence.
Absolutely. And I love that because when I think of first things first, the first thing we do for those, most of the people are morning people. We wake up in the morning, and that's kind of the first thing we're going to talk about is how do you use that morning time? You know, we've talked about this before, and I always say to you all, I have protected time. It's like that gate Misty just referenced it. I have protected time. First things first for me, I get up, I read my Bible study, my devotion. I spend time in prayer, spend some time in meditation, and then time in movement. That is my first things first. From 6 to 9, it's all me. Now, I do teach a class on occasion at 6 o'clock. I let them in. And then I go back to me until 9 o'clock. That is the protection of my time. And I'll tell you, studies have shown that in the morning, our brains are wired and ready for production. So if you have a key task, something extremely important, the best time to put it in is at that first time in the morning, because you know that everything else is not going to slide forward. And I know a lot of people say, if I don't work out in the morning, I don't work out. Or if I don't get this task done in the morning, it doesn't happen. We want you to seize the day, carpe diem, seize the day, seize the moment so that you can maximize your time and get the very most out of it.
I was at a conversation with a co-trainer last week, and she says she gets up at 4:30 a.m. every morning to meditate and journal to start her day. And it's the most beautiful gift she gave herself. So she's up doing that, and she runs into her son in the kitchen at 5 a.m. And she says, son, what are you doing up? And he said, Mom, I have 2 sets of twins, 4 and 7. So they have 4 kids, 2 sets of twins. He's like, if I don't have my 5 to 6 a.m. hour to do the things I need to do to get ready, I am not a great father. He's like, I found by giving myself 5 to 6 a.m. that I'm more productive in my business, but I'm also more loving in my life. So just making that priority, not looking at it like, oh my God, 5 a.m., but really looking at it, like you were saying, is that protected time so that I start my day and my day doesn't start me.
Yes. And you know, there's a great book out called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, who speaks to, he uses the savers principle and talking about the morning and really encouraging people to seize the morning. There's also another book out called the 5 a.m. Club. I think that's the name of it, because morning is a key time to do so much. Now, we know there are people who are not morning and there are night owls, but even those folks, how do they use that time to make the most of it? And I know, Missy, you're not a rise and shine early to bright in the morning, but when you do get up, you do use that time to get the most important things done first. Would you agree?
I actually have routine no matter what time I wake up. So if it's 5 a.m. or if it's 8 a.m., I allot myself my time. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. I shoot for an hour, depending on what time my first training starts. But I always start the day meditation and 16 ounces of water with lemon, no matter what time I wake up. So that I found it helps me. My brain doesn't go, oh, it's this early. My brain just goes into, we're awake. We're going to do these specific things. So for me, routine is more important no matter what time I wake up, is making sure I set enough time to do the same thing every morning.
Absolutely. And that's why the power of this right here, 32, I tell people I'm knocking it out first thing in the morning because, Misty, what's my phrase that I say?
Hydrate before you caffeinate.
That's right. And that goes back to first things first, getting your body, your metabolism up and working and running so that you can kill the day. So I love it. Morning, getting a good quality breakfast in. I'm throwing some nutrition tips in while I'm here. Going a good nutritious breakfast. And here's the key. High protein breakfast is going to give you the most out of the day, because guess what? It's going to rev up that metabolism, get your body working and operating. So again, you can master or seize the day.
Feed your mind,
right,
feed your soul.
That's right. That's right. Now, what's that? What else do we have, Misty?
So one of the things we really wanted to focus on was, if you have these amazing first things first that you want to utilize, is staying consistent with it. Because what we find is people are really good in the first week, And then it becomes something that they love doing, they love to do. And then because they love it so much, they let other things infringe upon it. So the thing with consistency, and that's why in my head, I say every time I wake up, it doesn't matter what time I wake up, the three main things is the three main things. So ensuring that I always have that set, because that just becomes a part of my daily routine or who I am or what I do. And the more I do it, the more I'm going to do it. So the consistency of it is having your set values and then moving those values over into the actions that you do, and then just keeping it a routine. We all, the subconscious, you all, what it does is once it thinks something's a routine, it just automatically does it. Even without you knowing it, it just moves it over. Like right now, your breathing, your heart's pumping, all the things your subconscious is like, yeah, I got it. When you start to do things in routine, your subconscious says, yeah, I got it. And then when you don't do it, your subconscious then is like, hey, whoa, we do this every day, because you've already programmed that in. So that's why it's important. And even the days you wake up and you're like, I just want to press snooze, is just groggily rolling out of bed and starting your routine.
That's it. I love that. There is power in the routine, that consistency that we create in our lives. You know, there's a rumor it takes 21 days. There's a rumor it takes 30 days. There's a rumor it takes 66 days. But I firmly believe it takes one decision to change your life. And once you make that decision, you just keep doing it over and over and over again. Which brings me to the next thing we're going to talk about is the one thing, right? When you're focusing on first things first, you've just, really looking at what matters. What do I need to do in the morning? How do I set myself up success? The next thing is, what is that one thing? And making sure that you schedule that in the top of your day, schedule it on the top of your calendar, and that when it's time to do the one thing, you do the one thing and the one thing only. There's an author by the name of Gary Keller. He wrote the book, The One Thing. Now, I remember initially getting this concept and really saying, no, I can't do this. I need to do multiple things at once, because that's how my brain works. I can't focus on one thing. But here's what I learned. When you do multiple things, you do nothing. You might get a little bit of this done, a little bit of that done, a little bit of this, but you don't bring that task to completion. So it's extremely important that you take that one thing. And here's what I've had to do for myself. I put a timer on. And I say, timer, give me 25, give me 90 minutes, whatever that timeline is for this one task. And I have to turn everything off. No radio, no TV, turn off all the notifications and focus on that one thing. See, I want to challenge you, because that is challenging. We live in a world where we're trying to do multiple things, especially my female entrepreneurs, my female executives. We know that we can do it all. At home, we have to juggle the whole thing. But the truth is, when we focus on that one thing, watch your productivity skyrocket. And if you don't believe me, try it. Maybe just try it for 10 minutes. If you're not accustomed to the technique, try it for 10 minutes. And as you get better and improve, add a little bit more time, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, until that task is done. The one thing.
That is good. How do we know what that one thing is?
Well, that's a matter of you deciding what that one thing is, right? What is the one thing that's most important? And depending on where you are in this stage in your life, let's say it's your business. That next thing is focusing on the income producing activities. Income producing activities. We can spend all day creating things that do absolutely nothing for ourselves or our business. But as we're talking about the world of business, let's look at the things that produce the money. And a lot of people don't like getting on those calls, calling Mr. Joe Smo, the client, to set an appointment to close the deal. Guess what? Phone calls are an income producing activity, whether you believe it or not. Setting appointments is an income producing activity. Social media can, maybe not, depending on how you position yourself. If you are selling for social, absolutely. And right now, Instagram is one of the top sales platforms for selling online. but you have to decide what are those things in your business. So as we prepare to kind of give you some action steps, I want to throw something out. Write down the top 10 things that you do every day, every week in your business. Write them down, make a complete list. Once you're done with that list, then go down the list and say, which of these produce income? Which of these will turn around and create some income for me? For example, I'll use our podcast. If we have sponsors and we have people who support us, guess what? Every time we show up on this podcast, there may be income producing activity, income that comes along with this particular activity. So you really want to leverage your time so that you are putting the first thing first, which are those income producing activities. And if there's anything else, figure it out later.
So you want to investors, right? You want a low amount of invest with a high amount of return. Low amount of invest, high amount of return. That's stock market, that's anything in life. So when you're choosing what's the one thing, what is your highest amount of return for the lowest amount of investment? Is it your energy level? Is it your excitement? So for my people, we love being around people. For my introverts, 10 minutes by themselves might turn a huge investment of their time. So it really is knowing yourself, knowing what's going to really help you get ready. What's your 8 before 8 a.m.? What's your 10 before 10? I talk to Kimberly sometimes at 9 when we start our meetings, and she already has what we just talked about every morning, already some form of workout, already some form of nutrition, already some form of time with her son, already some form, that's not even 8 yet. Do you know how powerful your day is by 8 o'clock, you have everything checked off? Because everything after that is a bonus and you feel good about it and not stressed. If your priorities are taken care of by 8 or 9 a.m. and your day starts, you're going to see your days become differently.
Absolutely. And that's the power of first things first. I want you to think about that. What are those things that you need to put at the top of the clock? And let me give you another analogy. Put that hardest thing. Put the worst thing, the thing you hate to do, also on the top of the list. Because what happens is we procrastinate and put those little quick little hits because we want that hit. And you need those hits. You need success. You need to see some wins. But guess what? If you continue win, and the thing that needs to get done doesn't get done, are you winning? Ask yourself that question, because that's some of the things we do. You know, Brian Tracy, he used to talk about eat the frog. Eat the frog, Brian Tracy. Look it up. Great book. Great. He does a podcasting on it. Eat the frog. Eat the thing you don't want to do. Eat it first. So that's another first thing first strategy to help you really get your time, maximize, produce the greatest income and the best result for you and your company.
Love it. You ready to jump into these action steps?
Let's go.
What is the first action step we need to take? We've kind of already been alluding to it. Decide it. Decide what it is and try it on. If it's not the same in 3 weeks, then that's fine, but you can't decide it every day. You got to decide it and be consistent with it and then see if it's working for you. You got to decide it. To decide means to choose the one thing and kill everything else off. One thing, decide, kill off everything else. So it is no choice anymore. It already is a commitment that you're going to do.
I love that. And that's where you set the line. Here, done. Once you're done with it, then go get the second thing and the third thing and the fourth thing. Just repeat that process over and over again. And we can assure you, you will have nothing but success. What's number 2, Misty?
So after it's decided, you're going to have to determine it. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I remember if I find time later, I'm going to get this done today. Now that doesn't work. I know there's some people out there like, it worked for me. It doesn't. Study after study shows if it's not written down or typed in, it sometimes won't happen at all, or it only happens in a rushed state. But if you pull your calendar out and you're already determining the times that you're going to do it, and you protect it like we were talking about it, protect it fiercely, plan it wisely, but get it in your calendar. Even the things of working out, good lunch, specifics. I know it sounds like, oh, I don't have to write in the small things. But if you do, your brain's already going to take that in a way of, this is important because I wrote it down. So everything in your calendar. And we love doing time chunks, chunking it out, determining a time chunk we're going to take out of our day, and then how many during the week. And then we're going to jump into that and we're going to do the one thing Even our meetings, we're like, wait, slow. Let's go back. We're not doing the one thing. We're squirreling, and we help each other stay to the one thing. Because as soon as you become successful, your brain starts popcorning everything, and you just say thank you and move it over until that one thing is completed. So now you've decided it, you've sat down, you've determined it. Now you're on step 3, which is
tell the people, do it.
Do it.
That's right. Yeah, do it. You know, it's nothing like setting a goal. And I say this all the time. You can decide it, you can determine, you can write it down, but there's nothing like doing it. Doing is the action part of the process. You have to do it if you want to succeed. And here's the thing that I love about it. When you think about having tasks lined up in front of you, things that you need to do or must do, once you've gotten into a good flow of doing it, you ever notice how the momentum builds up? You get excited and you're like, yes, what else can I conquer? There's nothing like checking it off on that checklist. Done, 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 done. And that's the power of putting the first things first. When you know that you ate that elephant or you ate that frog, and now you can go about your day in a successful way, feeling good about yourself, you know it's a winning day. And I know that when we think about doing things, we want to not only encourage you to do it, but here's a bonus. As you prepare to close your day, put together a schedule for tomorrow. Put that list together and say, hey, here are the 10 things I need to do. Last night, prime example, before I went to bed, I wrote 8 things I need to do today. Now, 8 is a big list, but some of them were 2-3-minute tasks. They weren't deep tasks that I needed to do. It was send a quick email, do this. But make sure if you do it the night before, you can wake up in the morning already setting the tone for your day so that your first things can be your first things and you can succeed.
I love that. We always say, start the day before, start your week on Sunday.
That's right.
And see what it does for you. See what it does for your stress level, and your stress is going to decrease, your excitement's going to increase.
Yes, we are super excited because, you know, we recognize we've been talking about accountability and we're bringing it together because one of the greatest challenges, as Missy said at the beginning, is time. I don't have time. I'm too busy. I'm this. But if your busy isn't productive or producing income, does it matter? Does it matter? You know, and I've had to check myself this year and say, you know what? I'm doing all this stuff, but what is this stuff producing or doing for me? If it's not in your wheelhouse, it's not lighting up your heart and bringing you joy, maybe it's time to reevaluate. Maybe it's time. Because again, the first thing first is what matters and it's going to take you to the next level. So as we prepare to close out, as we always tell you, you know, there's something out there waiting for you. But wait, before we tell you what's waiting, we want to let you know that March, which is coming right around the month, right around the corner, is Women's History Month. We are going to have guest speakers coming with us live all throughout March, helping you springboard your business so that you can have success. So make sure you tune in, come back and see us because we have great things planned for you. Not only next week, we've got part 2 to this time management conversation, but March, we're going to blow up the month with some awesome and amazing guest speakers. So get ready. So now, Misty, like we say every week, there's something out there waiting for you.
Now decide it and go do it.